Every day is a learning experience. As each child came along, my reserve of tips and tricks expanded, making each morning a little easier to manage. This is what today's guest says about raising 4 kids under 10. When you thought your little black book of phone numbers from back in the day was the thing, like I did, I really would love to take a look at Lulu Keszler Manley's reserve of mom hustling tricks right now. Welcome to the Hamptons Hustle and Heart podcast. Here we celebrate the amazing women of the Hamptons. Some are moms, some are business owners, some are just starting out. All are on inspiration and making a mark in our sparkling community out here on the East End. My name is Kim Lenar-Ehrhardt. I'm your host and guide through these stories of inspiration and connection. Today, I will talk to Lulu Keszler Manley, a mom of 4, a business owner, a Hamptons local, and someone who is deeply invested in our community. She also just joined our business network, the Hamptons Boss Moms, and I'm thrilled to have her here. Let's bring her in. Welcome, Lulu Keszler Manley. Thank you for taking the time to, meet me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Kim. I'm so impressed by, this whole community that you've been able to build, and I'm excited to be a part of it now. And I'm so happy that we get to sit down and chat for a little bit.
Me too. And thank you. We are honored to have you because, when I founded the Boss Moms, I was thinking about all these women who try to handle everything. And with everything, I thought 2 kids are a lot. But you actually doubled that. So you are a mom of 4.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Quickly, before we dive into the rest, let's quickly talk about how did your morning go so far?
My morning. Well, yeah, today, the mornings are always a bit of a blur, it's wake up and just get everybody out the door. I always, as with each child, I've learned to, new skills and new tips and tricks. And so one thing we do now is always lay everything out the night before, all the clothing and as much as we can the night before. So that helps a little bit with the mornings. Though we do always have, I don't want to wear this shirt. I don't like these pants. So, there's always the chaos, but as soon as we hear the school bus pull up, I have a little bit of a relief inside because I know half the team is about to leave the house, and then the other half, goes to their school just a little bit later. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that really, come on. I think that 2 kids are a lot at times, but 4, I think, yes, you have to come up with quite a lot of tricks. And we will get into that later because, obviously we're doing these interviews to get to know our members, but also get to know, the members of our community to understand how they're doing everything. Because you could say that if you have 4 kids, you're kind of busy. And that is a full-time job and then some. I'm pretty sure that there would be CEOs happy to do their job instead of what you're doing with 4 kids every morning. But you still went out and started your own business. So let's look at that. I said it in the beginning, summer camps are a huge thing. And obviously with 4 kids, you have your own little summer camp at home. But no, you went and started something for all of us. So walk us through, what is the idea behind the iCamp?
Sure. So a little footnote there. I'll just say when we started it, at that point we had 1 child and a brand new baby. So we weren't in quite as deep just yet. But iCamp started in 2018. My husband, Brendan, and I, we started it. We didn't necessarily have that much relevant experience in childcare and things of that nature. My background before that was in real estate. Brendan worked in technology and software development, so that's a little bit of how that kind of came about. And so in our first summer, we put it together and we said, wouldn't it be great to try to make this kind of little program? Our daughter at the time had just turned 3. So, she was just starting to do things, right? Going out of the house a little bit more. And so this idea, we thought, wouldn't it be nice for her to have something like this one day? And so the first summer, it was a very small program. I think, we were hoping to have, 5 or 6 kids each week. We ended up having probably around 12, which was already a huge success for the first summer. And really, the idea behind iCamp, and actually in the first summer it was called Innovators Camp still, and then after we shortened it to iCamp, um, is it's a place for kids to come and be creative. That's really the bottom line. And along the way, we introduce all sorts of different tools for creativity, right? So we have a lot of technology that we use. So whether it's learning to code or do 3D printing or even building robots, we try to teach them that everything is a creative process, and everything is there's all sorts of different outlets for this creativity, right? So some kids like to draw, some kids can code, some kids like to run in circles. However they like to express that creativity, there's a way to do that. And then another thing that we wanted to teach kids is that everything, all of these different things, they're all interconnected, and all of them are important. Which that is basically the concept behind STEM or STEAM, which is what we are. So science, technology, engineering, art and design, and mathematics, and they all go hand in hand. So. We didn't like the idea of kids saying, oh, I'm not good at that, or I'm only good at this. We really like to show, these you need a little bit of everything for something to work, right? So if I'm only good at technology, right? But if you're designing a website, right, you need to have a little bit of an artistic guy, to set that all up, and so you really do need a little bit of everything, and all of these topics are important.
So that means the iCamp is now what, 4 or 5 years old? Am I doing the math right?
So I guess this is our 6th year now.
Almost.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I mean, you said 12 kids in the first year. Where are we at the moment?
So now this upcoming summer, we actually are going to have 8 locations. So we have our one out here in the Hamptons, which is in Bridgehampton, which is the original. Now we also are in Manhattan, so we have Upper East Side, Upper West Side. We're a downtown location in Fidei. And then we're also in Westchester, so we have Mount Kisco, Scarsdale, and this summer we're opening in Stamford as well. So we have a whole lot of kids spread over, a big geographic region. But our Hamptons camp here, where we initially had those 12 kids, we have anywhere from 60 to 95 kids a week, depending on what part of the summer we're looking at. So it's grown quite a bit since that first summer.
You just said Bridgehampton. That is new because I think a lot of people will have remembered all the signs up here in Sag Harbor or at the close to Scuttle Hole. So where in Bridgehampton? Walk us through that a little bit.
Sure. So up until now, we have always operated at Nova's Ark, which is, it's actually right on the border of Watermill, Bridgehampton. This summer, we're very excited that we're moving down the road a little bit, and this summer we're going to be for most of the summer at the Bridgehampton School, which we are so excited about. The Bridgehampton School, I don't know if any of you who are watching have been inside. The facilities are outstanding. They did a fantastic job with the addition they put on the school. And so we're going to have all these brand new, huge classrooms. The outdoor facilities are amazing too. The playground, the sports fields. All of it. So we're very, very excited to be over there. And then for a couple of weeks for our pre-camp and post-camp season at the end of summer, we'll be at SEMI too, at the Children's Museum. So we're very excited this summer to be mixing it up a little bit.
Well, yeah, that is exciting. And again, I toured that school way back after they just finished the renovation and we weren't sure where to put August. And it was mind-blowing. For me, it was like walking into an American movie. It was really okay, this is how I know it from the movies, and this is right here. So yes, I get that you're excited about that. So if you look at, a lot of us have built businesses or are building businesses or are thinking about building businesses. So if you look at this growth over 6 years, that's rather fast for where you are at right now. So what is the one thing that stands out the most for you, where you'd be like, wow, that is something I learned, or that is something I'll always remember? Is there something?
I mean, there's a whole lot of things I would say on that list. But I think one thing that has been tremendously helpful for us, so like I said in the beginning, my husband and I, we do this together. Um, One thing that has helped us in our growth, and also I think just in retaining the same quality of our program even as we spread, has honestly been just our customer relations, right? So we have always kind of prided ourselves on our customer service, right, and making sure that every single person who comes to iCamp, right, whether you were our first year, one of 12, or now you're here and you're one of 95, we want to make sure that everybody has the very personal experience with us, right? So we want to make sure that we know you, we hear you, we know your child, we care for your child, your child is in good hands with us, and that we are aware of every single child who comes through our doors. And that helped us in the beginning in building relationships, and that through those relationships we started running after school programs in New York at certain schools, and then also ultimately in Westchester. And through those schools that we were running after school classes at, we ended up running summer camps. So that trajectory kind of happened very organically, but it started with the people who were here at our summer camp initially and enjoyed their time with us. And so that's something, as we've grown and expanded, something that we always really is very close to our hearts, is that we keep that relationship with our customers the way that kind of it started at the beginning.
So, would you say that being a part of the Hamptons community has been like helpful for this?
Oh, absolutely. I think if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Um, no, for us, this is a special place because this is home for both of us. Brendan grew up here his whole life. I grew up here for half of my life. Our home is here. Our kids are growing up here. So this is the place for us, and so to be able to create something here that is, in a way, a pillar of the community, and that we can kind of service the people who come here and provide the children and the families with something that's, to me, there's nothing better, because this place is so special to us. So it's nice that we can be part of making it special for other people as well.
I'm sure that heading into summer is going to change your daily routine a lot, like the moment camp kicks off. So tell me, where are you at right now and what's happening when camp is in full session?
Sure, that's a great question. So we, as the company has grown, we do in the beginning we were busy only in summer and in preparing for summer. As our after school side has grown, we are busy all year round, just with different things. But we start preparing for summer. Back in November, December, January. I mean, we got our first orders for summer camp in September, as soon as camp has ended. So that's when the orders start coming in. And so we're always thinking about, okay, how can we make camp great? And all these people who are trusting us and they're excited to come back, what can we do to make sure they have a good time? And then as we get closer to summer, it just becomes more serious and more, okay, we need to plan the curriculum for every week. We need to figure out, okay, the staff who's coming back, who do we need new, who is ideal for what age groups, what can we do to improve this? And, funny enough, actually, as having 4 kids myself, I find that when my kids are the ages that they are, every year I am able to improve our programming for that age significantly better than I would have without that personal experience. So there's always room for improvement. And that's, but that's something we strive for. We're always trying to see how can we make everybody's experience better. Returning campers, new campers, how can we keep it exciting and keep it fun and keep it new and fresh? I don't know if you know this, every year we have new curriculum for the summer. So we have returning campers, new campers. They're all seeing these things for the first time together. And that's also true for the the curriculum over the summer, right? So some kids come for 1 week, some kids come for 5 weeks, some kids come for 10 weeks, and we want to make sure that those kids are having fun every time they step through the doors. So there's a lot of work and a lot of preparation that goes into that. Once summer actually begins, it's kind of a whole different thing, because then I'm at camp. I'm boots on the ground out here every day. So I'm there at drop off to greet people, and I'm there at pickup, and running around. As we've grown, we have we've put in a great team in place. Yeah. So luckily, I don't need to be fixing things as much, or if something breaks, I don't need to pull out my screwdriver. Now other people can do that. But one thing I love doing is I love taking pictures at camp for parents to see. I think part of that is just being a parent, that I want to know what my kids are doing during the day. So I'm always making sure to take lots of pictures. So that's something I really enjoy doing, when I'm at camp too, and then being able to share that with our families, whether it's through the social media, or we also have an email that goes out to everybody at the end of the week with kind of what their child was working on that week. So just to keep everybody very connected with what's going on. So, yeah.
Will your kids be in camp?
Yeah, so my kids go there. Well, 3 of them do. My little one, he's about to turn 1, so he'll be home.
He's walking. That's enough of an action scenario.
I know, that's the game changer. Now that he started walking, I have to go back up in the attic now and get all the baby gates and all the
you better
stuff again. We didn't throw it, so. But so my kids attend. They each go for a couple weeks. So now we have my third youngest. He's almost 4, so he's the same age as Benedict.
Yeah.
He'll be in our iCamp Junior program, which is great. I mean, it's similar to, I would say, to kind of like a preschool. So it's a very loving, nurturing environment for kids, 3 and 4. And so at that age, like, they don't do any technology or anything. It's a lot of fundamentals of building. They're playing with magnetiles and puzzles and problem solving and creating and just having fun outside, right? We have a blow up water slide and water tables and all the stuff that they want to do. So
usually everything's good.
Yeah, so usually that's good. I know. So I always say pack an extra set of clothing when your kids come.
Obviously.
So Philip is that age, and then my older 2 now are just turned 6 and almost 8. So they'll be, they're in the bigger program, and it's been fun to watch them kind of age through the different groups. Yeah. When Nadine started, in the camp, she was 4 or 5, and now all of a sudden she's in, one of the older groups, and so it's just kind of crazy to see them grow every year. But yeah, they love going, and it's fun to have them there too, and to be able to see what my kids are doing and see them. It's just the mom in me now, but it's fun to see them interacting with other kids and, sure. to be able to kind of witness all of that. Because usually
that's what we need the pictures for. Those of us
at the end of the day,
who can't be there.
What'd you do today? Oh yeah, nothing. Good. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's nice to actually be able to see.
To see that nothing was actually kind of entertaining. So let's talk technology for a moment, because I feel we're in an age and time, and in general, and also with our kids, I think we're kind of still in the safe zone. Your oldest 8, my oldest 7. If we look 5-10 years ahead, I get nauseous because I get terrified of what's coming their way. And obviously, at the moment, we have organizations like Wait Until 8th that are trying to get parents to stand together in waiting until getting a smartphone to their kids until 8th grade, which I personally think is awesome, because just listening to, and there's more and more studies on what it does to the kids' brains. So that's a topic for a different day. But obviously, the iCamp is working with it and teaching it. Teaching like technology. Like, I always loved the part that you're doing coding, because I think that's a great tool. I wish I knew how to code. I always have to hire somebody to do the tiniest things. Right. So what would you say is, like, how thin is this line in what do you teach and where does it get too much?
Sure. That's a great question. So, even from our first summer, screen time has always been a hot topic. Especially among younger campers. And like I said, as a parent myself, I understand the concerns, right? When parents call and they ask this question, how much time do they spend on screens? We really limit the amount of time that kids are spending on screens. So, for example, if they're coding, it's a 45-minute workshop once a day, and they're all working together, and so they're
Well, and they're working. It's not like staring at a video game or something. It's
exactly.
working.
So
Like they interact with it.
what we like to say too is that we're teaching the kids to use technology as a tool and not as like a mindless
Yeah.
zoning out, kind of thing. So when we're using technology, the kids are very actively engaged.
Yeah.
So they're coding, so they have a challenge, and everything is done age appropriate, right? So obviously, kids who are 5, they're coding. That looks very different than when you're 9, 10, 11.
Of course.
5-year-olds, there's some days when they're coding when they're not even actually on a computer or anything. They're learning logic and thinking and problem solving and just the fundamentals. And then as they're older, it's more intricate and advanced. But the technology as a tool is a very important thing that we teach them. So, and that's true for anything. Sometimes we might do animation or they're taking videos of something, and so it's like, great, you have this piece of technology in front of you, iPad or whatever it is. Use it to create something else. The goal is not to just look at this thing. It's like, what can I do with this amazing thing in front of me? You have the world at your fingertips. World at your fingertips, and what can you do with this thing? And
also
that's
understand that you can actually engage with it and not just sit there and stare into it, but engage with it and create. I think it's like, so my son, the only time he actually gets to do anything on YouTube is when he does, or KidsTube or whatever it's called, is when he wants to draw. So there's like so many people who will teach you how to draw something. So if he wants to draw a tiger, then there is some guy with his daughter telling him with the camera from up here how to do it, which inspires him now to film himself. Like he will, and I mean, obviously I have cameras and iPads and tripods standing around everywhere. So he takes them. And the other day he was sitting at the kitchen table talking to I don't know who he thinks, like his invisible followers, because it doesn't go anywhere. And he was explaining something he was doing with Lego. I was like, okay, this way that works. But just sitting there staring into it turns them into monsters. And we've all been there trying to get them off the damn iPad. Wondering if it was actually worth the half hour of peace we had, that now we have like 20 minutes of full-blown meltdown because we took the damn device away. So, but yes, I think that's an important lesson, to understand that you can use technology to create. And for that, it's great. It's just not to absorb you. And that's,
So it's not, I think oftentimes people are quick to say, technology is the enemy. Which in some ways, if it's not used properly, I think it can be.
It can do tremendous harm, of course.
And that's where we feel like we really are providing a service to not only the kids who are learning these things, but to their families, and like here are some great things that you can do on an iPad, or different whatever games or different apps that can help the kids learn or create things. And ironically enough, we have this camp that is teaching tech and tech forward and whatever, and then at home we're very limited too on the amount of stuff that my kids can do, and so there's always an irony there, I think, when people hear
yes and no. But let me ask about that, because with 4 kids, how do you limit screen time? Because again, we all know it's the easiest thing to go to, because yes, boy, that'll shut everyone up. But again, it's also really messing with their brains, because we all know how it is when they come off. But how do you manage that? Are you a family that when you go to dinner you bring iPads, or what do you do?
No, so we're almost too many people now to go to dinner anymore. So that solves that problem. But no, we're not. We're the family where we go out to dinner, and I have a backpack this big filled with, different things for the kids to do. And, in the beginning, I always thought, oh my goodness, is this worth it? Is it worth it? But now they're getting older, and I find the older one, they can sit and they can have conversations and they can kind of entertain themselves a little bit. And now, the bag I bring is a little smaller. We need fewer things, but they still, they can play a game together. Or, my one son, he loves animals and dinosaurs and snakes and this and that. And so he has all the little figurines. And so he'll bring a handful of those and just play with himself then at the table and whatever. And so I think it kind of has paid off, in that situation. They're kind of, they just know that's how it is. And I think in general, we have rules in place. My kids, they don't use iPads really. Honestly, it's funny enough that I think when they come to iCamp, that's like their main iPad time. Yeah. Maybe that's part of the reason they're excited to go. I don't know. But even with TV, like my kids, they generally are only allowed to watch TV on the weekends. Obviously, there are always exceptions and this and that. We'll do like Friday night and Saturday night or movie night. But then like during the week, it's generally they're not watching TV. And it's a little bit easier for me. I have an au pair, so I have help, with the kids too. And now the older kids are older, and so they can start having drop-off play dates and great things like that. So it becomes easier. But I think that's something my husband and I were just always kind of on the same page about is we don't want them always just zoning out and kind of sitting here but separate from us. But we have to make sure that we make that same effort. So, we don't use our phones at the dinner table and things like that, so we try to be present with them, to lead by example. And just the way that you were saying, August sees all of your tripods and this and that, and probably that's also, you say he sees the YouTube video of someone recording themselves, but he also sees you, and he's probably like, this is so cool, like this is what my mom does, so let me do this too, and so the kids, they're so observant and they see everything we do. And so I think it's super important to lead by example as well.
I mean, the dinner table thing, I think, is a huge thing, because it's so easy to quickly check. And at this point, we leave them over there, because it always comes to that point. It's like, so what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? And you're in that phone and you're like, no. We can check that later. But you're right, because I think it's now. And I sometimes think that, because like if August sits there and plays with his Legos forever, and I already told him 13 times to get undressed, and then I was like, okay, get 5 more minutes. And then I'm like, oh, let me quickly check this. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I mean, like, what kind of example am I setting right now? Because I'm sitting here scrolling my damn phone. And it's like, it's not, I'm not a heart surgeon. So there's really no necessity for me.
No emergency, yeah.
So, but yes, and you underestimate that they're so young. But of course, I already get but why are you allowed to be on the phone right now?
Right.
Yeah, and why am I? That is indeed, I think that's a huge topic, and I like that you do it that way too.
It's funny. A friend of mine the other day, she actually said, she's busy all day doing stuff, but whenever her kids come home off the bus, she always makes sure to grab a book and just read so that her kids see her reading, and so that way when she, that way when she says, make sure you're doing your reading and your homework, they don't say, oh, but you never read. So
that's true.
So it's the same thing. It's all, lead by example. If you're setting these super strict screen time rules, but then you're on your phone all the time or watching TV all the time, your kids are going to say,
yeah, it's not gonna last. They're gonna come up with quite good arguments. And again, the 7-year-old is already. I mean, let's be honest. The 3.5-year-old can get very smart that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
you have to tell me.
So, what would you like? How do you handle kids and job? Because I think that is something. It's like, I mean, I went into this whole thing. I had a full-blown career. And then I thought, well, I'll just keep working and it'll all be super easy. And then you realize it's actually not, because you're the person, and I don't know about you, but I think a lot of moms are the default parent. Like if something comes up, it's us who steps in, because the husbands are always doing something, and it's for some reason they can't just stop doing it, and I can't even complain because my husband is very hands-on, but still the school calls me. I mean, it's like the school nurse calls me and I have the nervous breakdown until she tells me he's back in the class now after bumping his head, everything's fine. I was like, great. So and trying to work and trying to do something like at a specific amount of time usually never works out because there's always something, and then there's, well, running the family. So what's your secret sauce? Like, how do you manage to get that job done and still feel that your kids get you too? And do you manage to feel I got it under control, or do you have these, oh my God, it's never enough moments too?
Sure. I would say I have both of those moments. And I think that's just how it is. Sometimes I feel the easiest way to get it all done is to not think about anything and just react, and just do the things and don't worry about all the things for tomorrow, but let's just do what we need to do today, So I think lists are great with things that you can check off, right? Easy check off boxes, make yourself feel good about it. Earlier today, I ordered the groceries, like big check for me, I didn't have to go there, but it feels good to have done it. And I think, that's important is to stay focused on what you've accomplished, and don't be so hard on yourself. And everything moms do, is amazing. It's funny. My one of my best friends from childhood just had her first child, and I know she called and she says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't understand what you were doing, what you were going through, and now, and her baby now is only a month old, so she still doesn't understand. I'm sure in a few years." But everything that we do is, it's a lot, there. And like you said, the default parent, my kids, when they wake up during the night and they come over or they're sick, they're most of the time they're looking for me. And not to say, my husband does a bad job or he doesn't do anything. Like, he's just very involved, very active. And even, yesterday we had a t-ball game. He was supposed to be working, but he couldn't miss the t-ball game. He didn't want to miss it. So, he got in the car and then ended up working late, so he's also, he's very involved and very, but it's still different, it's the moms are, oh great, Damien outgrew all of his pants, like I need to go buy new pants and this and that. So there's a lot, I feel like, that weighs on the moms.
Well, it's the snack bag, like the game is great, but be sure that they're going to yell for their water and their snacks. And then my husband would be like, why do they need to eat again? So it's, yes. And of course, then you're the one going like snacks, drinks, extra clothes. Yeah.
But I guess that's why they look for you, right? Because you know what they need. But, and so I guess back to your question about balancing it all, it's tough. And there are days, when I feel like, oh shoot, I didn't really do as much work as I should have done today. And then other days when I feel like, oh, I didn't see my kids as much as I wanted to. And I think, you can't have everything every day. And so you just have to kind of say, okay, great. I didn't get as much work done, but I did get to go to the t-ball game. And, I didn't see my kids enough, but I'm doing all this work. So then, they can have a nice birthday next week, or whatever it is. So I think it's the
giving yourself some grace. That's really, I think we're very hard on ourselves, as in trying to do it all while actually doing two different jobs at the same time, and then kicking ourselves for not being perfect in both of them at the same time.
Right. Exactly. No, so I think it's important to celebrate the small wins along the way. It's and everything. Oh, great! I got the kids to school today, and they were dressed and they had their lunches. Like, big pat on the back. That's
True.
that's a lot. So So I think there's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. I think you just have to know yourself and just be happy and enjoy the victories along the way. Just everything you do is amazing, and I think it's important to to stop and reflect and say, wow, look at all this. Even just when I look at my kids, my daughter, her birthday's on Thursday, she's turning 8, and I'm wow, like, you're a big person now, and she's reading books and doing this, and it's like, wow, I made this person, and now here she is like,
Yeah.
full her own thoughts and this and that, and so I think it's, yeah, I think it's very important just to stop and appreciate everything along the
True.
way.
True. Thank you. So what do you do to unwind? Like how do you get some me time in and what do you do?
Sure. So everyone who knows me well is going to laugh now, but my thing that I do is tennis. They laugh because I love playing tennis. And now my kids have to love tennis and all of that. It's our big rivalry in the house because my husband's a golfer.
Oh,
So the kids have to decide what their sport will be. But no, but I love playing tennis, and for me it kind of it kills two birds with one stone because I feel like a lot of like my socializing in that way too, because I think tennis is it's very, there's a big social aspect to it. So a lot of
yeah.
the people I play with, have become very good friends. Other moms from school or what have you. So there's a big overlap there. So I get the workout, the adrenaline, and then also the social aspect. So and it doesn't hurt that you get to hit a ball really hard, which then makes it easier to tell your 6-year-old to put on his shoes 30 times in a row because you already kind of got
Cut that
that
out.
that really, yeah. So yeah, but I think that's something I've learned over the years too, is that it's super important to have that me time, and I think having that time, whether it's once a week or once a day, whatever, everybody's different, but I think having that time for yourself makes you better at everything else you do.
A
So
thousand percent.
I think on the days when I play tennis, I'm able to then, when I'm with the kids, I can focus more on them, and work, I can focus more on the work and do the things I need to do because I already had that time for myself and checked some other boxes.
It
Um,
really is that oxygen mask thing, right? It just there's a reason for that because yes, your kids will thrive because you can be present and
right,
because you feel good with yourself and
right,
but I think it's something that you have to learn when you become a mom. At least I had to learn it the hard way, really, because I was just like here and this, and then let's work in between, and then okay, I don't have to do a walk, I don't have to do, and it's a game changer since I started going to Pilates or just literally doing sanity walks.
hmm,
That changes. And yes, you're right. You come back and you're like, okay, I'm good. I got some energy out.
right,
I got some thoughts out, and I can be here now and not constantly think about I don't know, being stuck here instead of being able to do something else, but actually be mindful
right,
and in that moment.
yeah. And I think, yeah, it makes everything that more enjoyable, and for me now too, it's funny because my kids all, they do tennis after school and whatnot. So
Of
then
course they
I'm
do.
excited to one day be able to like share that with them and play with them. And I see some friends who I have with older kids, who play tennis with their kids. So I think,
That's great.
one day that will come back around as not just a me time thing, but as something we can do as a family. Or one day I can send all of my children golfing with my husband, and then I can have me time too. So it's,
Yeah,
it's a win-win
it
either
is a
way. So
win-win. Absolutely. Absolutely. So now I just had a question and it went out
of
my head
course,
again, but let's circle back to iCamp in this summer. So, is it fully booked? Is there space still? Like, what if somebody is now like, I want to look into it, I want to learn more? What are the steps? What do
absolutely.
they do?
Yeah. So I mean, we do have some weeks that are already fully committed at this point. People can always join the wait list, and obviously, if there's a change for those weeks, you'll be notified. But then for a large part of the summer, we do still have openings, and that's generally when we're at the Bridgehampton School because we have more space there. The program we're running at the Children's Museum is smaller, so
Yeah,
we just have limited
sure.
capacity. And we generally like to, another thing we've learned, we like to overstaff this time of year. That way we can accommodate all the last minute signups and all the people who are wanting to try us out and are just finding out about us now. Or even, we get signups still in June and July and August. Some people, they sign up in September last year, and other people sign up the Friday before camp starts on Monday. So, our signups are all by the week, so it's very easy. It's kind of low commitment. You can try it, and if you like it, you can generally there's room to come do another week. So we like to overstaff and just have lots of space available so that we can always accommodate more kids.
Yeah, that must be the
So
hardest part because I mean, I know of so many people like, if we rent, then we won't need camp. If we don't rent, but we don't know when we rent. And then it's like, I don't know how
right,
people decide in September what they're going to do. Because I mean, obviously, kids go through phases too, right? Like there's stuff that my son wouldn't have done last year and now he's interested. So that's, I think, is the other thing. So that's great that you leave that option open.
yeah.
So if people are still like, nah, I'm not sure, I'm a little bit on the fence. What do you say to people who are on the fence about ICAM?
Yeah, I think we try and appeal really to like a large audience, and have a little bit of everything for everybody to come, enjoy while they're at camp. And so I think some people they hear the name or iCamp, like iPhone or this or that, they think it's only technology. But it really, like I mentioned earlier, we really are all about creativity and making and building and trying and creating and just thinking about things in a different way, which is something that obviously everybody can do. We mix in a lot of outdoor time. Like I said, we have outdoor water slide and we have outdoor games that we do every day. So the kids, in addition to the STEM activities that they're doing, they're also spending a ton of time outside. And we have small groups, right? So it's like up to 12 kids in a group with 2 or 3 instructors. So the kids are getting a lot of attention. The ratios are great. And then the kids are all fantastic too, so we've had a lot of kids come for the first time a year and not know anybody, and then the next year they come back with someone they met at camp, or they're having play dates outside of camp. So it's a great kind of way to meet lots of other people too, who maybe have similar interests to your child. So I think it's a nice program to try for anybody because it does cover so many different things, and there's a little bit for everybody.
So if people have questions, how can they reach out?
Absolutely. So they can, excuse me, they can call, they can email. That we have Instagram. There's lots of different ways to get in touch. So I'm sure, is there somewhere afterwards where you post
Going to put all of that in the show notes, and yes.
Yeah. So call, email, DM us, whatever, text us. We're here,
Awesome.
and we'll, the website is easy. It's icamp.com. It talks about all of our programs, all of our locations. So even for a lot of people who come out here, who maybe live in the city or live in Westchester and are looking for some supplemental camp weeks, we have locations there as well. We also, during the school year, we run holiday camps. So whenever there's no school, generally we're running programming too. So the website is a good place to go just to see kind of a little bit of all the different things that we offer.
Awesome. Well, and we are lucky to have you in the Boss Mom membership too. So we will hopefully be seeing you at a meeting or two, and then I'm sure we can dive even deeper into the handling kids and job and all topics. And having grown up out here, I mean, that's awesome too. Because yes, you said you grew up here half your life. Where was the first half?
So the other first half, I grew up in Germany, which is part of, you're in my connection as well.
Because we could have done all of this in German, but we didn't because it's a lot easier to understand for more people.
Next time. But yeah, so my parents are German. I was born in Germany, and then we kind of moved back and forth a few times. My parents came here. I guess I was maybe not even born yet or a year old, and they fell in love with Southampton, bought their first house. We were always here in the summers and for Christmas, and eventually we moved here full time. Yeah. We were here for a few years, and then they wanted us to grow up with a little bit of the European culture as well, so then we moved back to Germany for a few years, but then ultimately all of our hearts were here. So we moved back, and here we are now, and my parents live here also. My sister's here.
That's great.
And now I'm here, with my kids, and it really is such a special place. I think,
It
especially for
is.
families, and it's a nice way for kids to grow up here.
Absolutely. Do you go back to Germany often?
Not as much as I would like,
Mm.
and I'm almost ashamed to say my kids have not been yet, even though they all speak German. So I keep, it's funny when they were littler. I always said, "Oh, when they're older, it'll be easier." And now they're older, and I said, "Oh shoot, if only we had gone
Would
when they
have
were."
been easier back then.
So here we are now, but I would like to go with them very soon. Like I said, they all speak German, so I want to take them somewhere where so they finally understand why they speak this other language no one else here speaks.
That there's more people
Um,
speaking it actually than their parents and an au pair and their grandparents. Yeah, I hear
yeah,
you. I hear you.
and
Yeah.
August and Benedict, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Indeed.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Lulu, thank you so much for taking the time. And again, like I'm really happy that we had this conversation. I think you built something awesome. I
Thank
think
you.
I'm always in awe of everybody who does something that also gives back to the community and creates these, well, special experiences, right? And you said it. Once you become a mother, there's suddenly so many things that you think about that you never like. I mean, in Germany, there are 6 weeks of summer vacation. So
Right.
we went to Denmark for 3 weeks of it, and the other three, I was just hanging out with my mom and my friends. That was it. No camp. And then I came here and I was like, well, camp. And then, yeah, your kid is like around 3 or 3.5. And you're like, okay, 11 weeks of summer. Can somebody please shoot me now? How are we going to do this?
So
And you
here we are.
realize that kid needs like a full blown entertainment because school is entertaining him that way. So now what? Like there's going to be 3 months of nothing or just mommy
Right.
trying to, and I'm also not that mommy. And I have to say, by the way, whoever invites Lulu's kids to their birthday parties, you're always hands on. Like you saved me with a slime party in
Yes.
February. I will not
Oh,
forget that.
I remember.
Lulu was just like, while I was hyperventilating because there was slime everywhere, and you made it
Yeah.
work. So that is
That was
awesome too.
that was a brave decision on your part, though, to have a slime party to begin with. So I felt like I couldn't let you, do that yourself. So
Yeah, me and my living room are forever grateful for that. Thank you very much. That was a big help. But it is also fun, and
yeah.
it's a joy creating something for kids. And I think you and your husband, you did something awesome, and I'm thrilled to hear that it's expanding that much because that is
Yeah.
really, I mean, we start something, we have this little idea, and then looking ahead, yeah, I mean, you have visions, but again, it's a lot of work. So if you look 5 years ahead, do you have a vision for that?
Yeah, I hope I'm, retired and on the beach just playing tennis all the time.
There you
So,
go.
perfect. No, I hope we continue to expand, and just like I said, just keep the quality the same.
Yeah.
Whether it's one location, 100 locations, and so it's exciting. There's always a lot to do. There's different regions. Maybe we go to Florida or
Yeah.
Chicago, wherever. There's kids everywhere, so there's a lot to do in that way. So a lot of
Yep.
different options.
Technology is not going to stop either. So you're on to something. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you for taking the
Thank
time.
you. No, it was
And
so nice speaking with you. This was really, really lovely. Thank you so much.
thank you. Have a great rest of your day. And don't forget your me time.
Yes, thank you. You too, everybody. Yeah.
Exactly, everybody. Well, thank you. Bye, Lulu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.